just left and gotten home and had my daughter still in the backseat of my car. She had fallen asleep, and if you don't know, have children, you know that they sleep in the car for quite some time, and you don't wake them up. So I was just kind of hanging out in the driveway, you know, talking to Eric, and some other opportunities that had kind of come about that day that we didn't follow through with because of the fire. But I got the phone call. It was about 8:40, or it was about 9 o'clock at that time at night, and all you can think about is, oh my gosh, like, just get there as fast as you can. Pretty sure if I would have gotten pulled over, Child Protective Services probably would have been very happy with me on the way there. But you know, you just do whatever you can with something like that when you're faced with something like that. And the only thing I could think about at the time of the fire was, what do I do? You know, what's the situation? Anybody hurt? You know, an ambulance was there, and a couple people did have some smoke inhalation pretty bad, and one of my guys had fire actually dripping on him, so he had a couple of little burns and things. And everybody was just in total shock. You know, you pull up and you have 5 feet of flames coming out the top of your building. It doesn't make for a good night, to say the least. So, you know, first and foremost, my mother was there, and my father, and all the employees and people who weren't even working were coming by to see what was happening and what was going on. And you're just in a state of shock. You know, you don't know what to do. And my insurance agent was one of the first people I had seen, actually. Very good insurance agent, but he stopped by and he said, you know, we'll take care of it. And all I could think of at that time was, first and foremost, my employees. You know, I just thought about all their families, and I have to get it back. I have to get it back as fast as possible. 1, for my family, and 2, for theirs, and 3, for the community and y'all's families. I knew that, you know, we were a place in town that a lot of people want to come, bring out-of-town guests, bring their families, go on a day, have a special evening out, you know, that sort of thing. And I just wanted it back as fast as possible. And I even sent some of my employees that night, said, go to Walmart, get trash bags, get cleaning supplies, get gloves, get whatever. You know, we're gonna stay here till the sun comes up and get it all clean so we can be open the next day. Obviously, we know that didn't happen. And as soon as I walked in, and I mean, they were ready, buckets. I'm ready to, you know, we thought maybe it was just the kitchen, you know, was damaged, and maybe the front of the house would be okay, and we could just kind of tidy some things up, be closed for maybe a couple weeks to get things back in order, and things would be all right. 4.5 months later, and the building came pretty much all the way down. So I walked in that night. The firefighters let me go back in and try to find some telephones and things, or cell phones for people, and purses, and I mean, everybody just dropped everything. Luckily, I didn't have very many employees there, so there wasn't a whole lot. But as soon as I walked in, you know, I knew right away that just as how much black, the whole place was just black, you know, from so much soot. Come to find out that was because of the spray foam insulation, which is the only thing that kept my building standing, but it also caused that massive amount of soot to fall on everything. So all the way to the very front. And actually, about 4.5 months later, right before we were about to open, we were getting our front sign hooked back up. You know, the electricity on the front sign, and the electricians couldn't figure out why it kept tripping the breaker. And we had gotten a new sign made, and for the bottom half, and we had the guys come out and install it. And they said, well, I can tell you why this is tripping. And we're like, why? All the way to the front, 2 pieces of wire had actually melted together, and that was at the very front next to the road. So fire can do amazing things to your building, and very destructive things to your buildings. And it was something that I never expected to have to experience, but going through all of that, now I feel like I could be a licensed contractor, I could be a painter, I could be pretty much anything. I thought I wore a lot of hats before as a business owner. You know, you always have a different hat on every day, and even as a manager, you're always putting some kind of fire out. And, to actually literally have to put a fire out and go through that is a lot different. It's a whole different experience, and I hopefully times, and it was a struggle. It's been a lot of things that I never thought it would be, and you know, when you're handed lemons, sometimes you just have to make lemonade. And that's the only way I can look at it, you know, after that night is just, let's do what we got to. And luckily I did have a good insurance policy, I had great landlords, I had a wonderful staff, which has made the transition from opening back up so much smoother, because every single one of my employees, besides one, has come back. We've lost one since then, but of course that happens, turnover and things, but that's made training next to nothing. It was pretty much, we just said, hey guys, prep up like it's Friday night. They said, okay. You know, took off and did their own thing. You know, some things are like, we're out of lemons. I know, they're just in a different spot. So getting used to that sort of thing, and just that we didn't change a whole lot, I would say, in the kitchen. We just made things over time. Things were starting to, you know, you always say, well, if I could move this, or if I could do that, you know, this would make it so much smoother, it'd make operations go so much faster if we had this piece of equipment. And one thing the fire did allow us to do is to get those things, to get the pieces of equipment that were going to help our operation run better and work more efficient for us, so that way we can be better prepared and consistent for the community who comes and eats there. With the front of the house, it was very hard to say, okay, well, this is where it used to be, don't we just need to put it back? I mean, of course, insurance wanted us to put it back just the way it was, but they obviously knew we were going to try to do some different things with it, so you kind of had to use the insurance money, I guess, to my advantage and be able to change things around as far as the flow goes, so that way it flows better for the customers and for us. There were always things before that were wrong with number 9, and a lot of things that I couldn't do anything about. One of those being the space. I couldn't, at that point in time, I couldn't physically tear down our walls and make it different. So we just kind of had to work with what we had, and literally I was trying to do some updates. Me and Eric and my family and some of the workers, we were spending lots of time there before the fire, on weekends, on our days off, just trying to update it, paint. We had just gotten brand new carpet laid, like literally a week before the fire happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at this beautiful carpet. It's not even white anymore, it's black. But once the fire happened, it's kind of like, okay, let's just scratch everything we thought number 9 was and the way it looked. And if there's something that we needed to change, I know I had good food, I know I had good service. I know we were passionate about it. Our heart and souls were in it, and we were trying as best as we could to do everything right. But some things like the crampedness of it, the low ceilings, the smoke issues, just come to find out that kind of has something to do with fire. Those sorts of things, now we could change them. So what do we do to make the best we possibly could for the community? So that way, even if it doesn't actually physically get larger, I couldn't move the outside walls, how do we make the space feel bigger? Certain things like we lay the floor on a diagonal. That is perception supposed to make your room feel larger. We raised the ceilings, obviously. The roof had to come down anyway, so why not raise the pitch up and not put a drop ceiling back in? Pardon me. Certain things like that, I think, helped make it, at least the feeling of it, different. We still are number 9. We're always going to be number 9. We focus on, the local community, the local farm, the local anything local, and that's still who we are. We still want to be true to who we are, but how can we make it better for everybody else too? And mind you not, I was even uncomfortable sometimes in number 9. Just, can I get the room, please? And I think we've eliminated a lot of that. It feels comfortable now. People seem to be having a good time. One thing I've maybe it's a little too loud now, you're not as, I guess, cozy as it used to be, but which options do you take? You know, you make more people comfortable by feeling like they have more space, or do you take a quiet, you know, over the loud? You know, which one's more important? Which one's going to keep people coming back in? So that's kind of how we decided on that. The whole thing, we just modernized it. It was a little outdated before, and the coal mines, we wanted to really hone in on that. You know, that is our theme. So how do you give back to the coal mines and make it feel like it is the coal mines and it's a tribute to the coal mines without actually feeling like you're underground? A lot of times it's underground. So, and come to find out, I mean, we didn't even know half the things did look like the coal mines. You know, the ductwork that's up there on the ceilings now that's exposed, and we let that galvanize rather than painting it black like a lot of people do, just because we wanted that real heavy industrial look. Apparently that looks like even a spray foam. People will be like, oh, well, look at that. That actually looks like coal up there. And yeah, you're right. It does. So that was kind of a shocker, and I mean, a toll point that kind of happened that we weren't really expecting. And then my mom found the string lights that are up, and we just thought it would be a neat focal point, you know, with the string lights, but it actually kind of reminds people of the lights that they run underground. So it just kind of all happened that way. And then I put a post out on Facebook and just said, I'm looking for some new pictures. You know, I knew we had a lot more wall space to cover, and we were planning on using some of the old pictures back in there, and we didn't really have an idea for it. I can tell you that probably honestly. We had a couple things, but just put the post out there online on Facebook and said we're looking for some new decor, and a local photographer, they do what's called coal sessions. Come to find out, she sent me one picture, and my chin hit the floor, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And they actually take pictures of the coal miners coming out from underground, and they're all dusty and dirty and sweaty, and that's what they base these coal sessions around. And so we got with her and picked out a whole bunch of different collages that we could do, and one of my favorites says "Coal feeds my kids." It's on a hard hat, and I thought that was, you know, it's personal, and it's all local Hopkins County coal miners, so or from the surrounding areas. So it makes number 9 a little bit more personal to a lot of people. So that's what we tried to go for at least. So 2015 was probably the hardest year of my life for personal reasons, for professional reasons. I'm glad it's 2016. I'm ready for it to be over. But the year started out rough, and it continued to get worse and worse as it went on. And come out November, it all started coming back into place. And sometimes that's like God's way of saying, you know, let's what are you doing, Kelly? Let's think about this, you know, and it's up to you whether you see it or not. And if you do, there's a lot more opportunities that can come about. So try to take a moment and say, you know, things happen for a reason. My mother even had bought me a book that said that exact thing about 3 months before the fire. And it was still ringing true in my head, you know, things are happening for a reason. Some things are set in motion that we can't control. So what do? You rise. You don't let it get you down. You don't crawl up underneath the table and cry like you want to most time. I mean, believe me, I could sit in the corner for days if I allowed myself. But pick yourself back up. And you move through a tragedy to make it a triumph. You rise from the ashes, I think is what one of the papers said. And that's literally what I feel like we've done. So we're excited about the changes and happy about all the hustle and bustle and excitement of the new number 9, and I know it won't last forever, but I'm enjoying it while it lasts, I guess. So that's basically it.
I know the answer, but maybe those that are here that don't. I saw that when it was down to just the walls standing. I assume that the reason you could not expand, that would have been the opportunity to, hey, let's bump it out a little bit. But city code on that lot wouldn't let you exceed your foundation. Is that correct?
Well, it wasn't so much the city code. They actually were pushing to try to tear the whole building down.
Yeah.
Preferably to get it away from the road. If that were to have happened, we probably would have been closed, obviously, for a whole lot longer than we were, but insurance wasn't going to allow that. The actual physical structure, the foundation, and those 4 block walls weren't damaged. So if we were going to do that, I mean, obviously they said we could if we wanted to, but
That would have been at your expense, I realize.
Right, we were going to have to seek a lot more.
But then there was no actual code that said you could not have expanded that. I guess I assumed that because that lot was really kind of small.
I didn't check into actually expanding
Okay.
the actual building. I just knew, right, I couldn't give up any of my parking, which if I'm gonna have a larger building, then I need more parking. So I didn't want to give that up. And then I would have to also expand some of the kitchen. You know, our kitchen is just the right size to produce enough food for the amount of seats that we have. So looking at it in that way, do we expand and actually make ourselves with more, where we can have more customers, more guests, and possibly suffer our quality of food or kind of the closeness that you still have there, you know, the coziness that still is number 9. So if we were to have even moved the building, we probably wouldn't have made it any larger than 120 seats or so, just because that's kind of we don't want 300 seats. That's too big for us.
Sure.
So, but no, we weren't really allowed to unless we wanted to, like I said, put in a lot of our own money, which we did, you know, put in some of our own to make some of the upgrades that you see, just because they were needed. And even though, you know, insurance says, well, if it wasn't there before the fire, then we aren't really going to do it, you know. And just as far as putting the air conditioners up on top of the bathrooms like that, code did say we had to have some sort of railing around that. And the contractors thought, okay, well, that's code, you know, so insurance is going to cover it. And no, they're not, because we didn't actually have the air conditioners there before. So just because that's where we put them, that's on us to build the railings. So little things like that, you know, we had to kind of work around and try to hide or, you know, whatever. But I mean, we weren't trying to make any money off the insurance or anything. We actually sunk, I think, every single last penny plus some into making it what we could. So. Well,
it's an opportunity. Although it's a bad thing to happen, you make an opportunity out of it. So this is an opportunity to have it take place.
Right, right. And we didn't expand the walls or anything, but like I said, we just wanted to stay as cozy as top of somebody else. You know, you're really spitting somebody else's food before. Now you're a little bit. I was actually doing cartwheels in there when we got all the tables. Yeah, and I said, oh my gosh, there's so much space. I just went down. So there actually is a whole lot more room, even though it didn't actually change. So.
Ray and I enjoyed lunch with you all yesterday, and it truly was the first time we had been back in. I've been traveling a lot. Amazing change. And I asked our server, you know, how many seats now compared with before? And she said, we have 2 more now. But the feel, it felt like going in, and I don't, you know, we always enjoyed number 9, but the ambiance from before wasn't why we went. Now it's a part of what will draw us back. And you know, we went before because of the food, the service, knowing the owners, etc. Really gone from kind of a 50s, 60s, closed-in, old-timey feel, yeah, to 2016 bistro, and have the other things to go with it. So, just a comment in that regard. You've done well with the transition, knowing how tough it had to be.
Thank you. And we moved the door. Well, we found the doors actually. Mom 1/4 of an inch is actually a foot. And we're with pencils and erasers and all sorts of things, drawing. And Eric had gone to get our daughter from the babysitter, and Eric was down overseeing some of the destruction or the demolition. And he calls me and says, "Kelly, there's doors." I said, "What do you mean there's doors?"
The sheet rocked
He said,
over.
"There's doors." And I'm like, "In the walls." And he said, I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean there's doors in the walls?" He said, there's doors in the walls. I don't know how else to tell you that. And I'm like, okay, I'll be there in a second. So I drove down there, and it started to rain, and Evelyn again fell asleep in the car. So we were in there, and I go inside, and literally, I mean, there was the doors that are number 9 now. That's what was behind the wall. We had to put a handle on them, and that's it.
They still had the windows in them.
Right, they
Yeah.
did. I mean, they were just perfect little doors sitting there.
They did that back when it was
I
a
know.
Mexican restaurant. They covered them up.
Never even knew that. Never. And if you would have looked at the old number 9 where it said number 9 Steakhouse on the side of the building, it was all brick, but there was a section of it that was just the shape of a door that was boards. And nobody, not even Harrison PT, who owned the restaurant before, even thought to think, maybe there's a door behind there. So when the drywall and everything started coming down, it's like, wow, okay, so let's just ball up this floor plan, throw that away, and let's start again. So that's what we did. And I literally fly over to Mom's, and I'm like, "No, there's doors. And she's like, "What do you mean?" I showed her pictures. She's like, okay, there's doors. All right. So, before we had like 2 different dining experiences. You had the bar side that was kind of loud, and it was smaller, even though it felt bigger. Come to find out, we had shorter ceilings in the other dining room than in the bar area, which made that other dining room, was square footage, not a whole lot bigger, but a little bit bigger. But the lower ceilings even made it feel a little bit more cramped. And I'll tell you, those Y-beams that we used to have, when I actually knocked them things over, that was wonderful. We literally took sledgehammers, and the demo crew let us do some demo. We just take out some frustration at a time, Right. That's literally what I felt like I was on. But people would always say I have 2 different experiences. You picked your side, which side you'd like to be on. And people would sit and wait. If they wanted the bar side, they'd sit and wait forever for a table to come open. And now it kind of feels like you're having one experience. You're not having this intimate dining, private side that's small and cramped and very personable too over there. But and then you have the loud bar side where people get kind of crazy sometimes. And now you're having like both of those kind of meshed together. So I like that. I don't like having 2 different experiences, because I'm in the same building. So kind of having to adjust my ways. I was talking to people based on which side they were sitting on. I didn't care much for that. So we kind of eliminated that with just finding doors, I guess.
How long did it take for the shock to wear off, and then for you to realize this is an opportunity to make things better? And how?
I'm still kind of in shock. No, I don't really know. I couldn't really pinpoint like a day that it went away. I just remember getting home that night. And, Mom and Dad had actually taken Evelyn home and gotten her to sleep somehow. I don't know still how they managed to get. I'm usually the only one that can get her to sleep, but I sat down on the couch and it was like I couldn't even cry. I was, but it was like you're just so in shock. Like, let's just go to bed and act like this never happened. Let's wake up and think it was all a bad dream. But I have a very strong family, and I think that was probably the only thing that pulled me out of it. To say, okay, my mom is a very big go-getter, and she's like, let's do this, let's go. Like, okay, let's think about this, and I was just, okay, Mom, okay, and I just kind of followed for a little while, and then I was like, just breathe, just breathe, soak it all in, and what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do now? And first and foremost, I had to call insurance, I had to do this, there was like steps that I had to do that I didn't even ever know were steps to even do, but you just do it. Sometimes you have to be strong. strong. You have to be strong for your employees, for your family, for your town, your community, your customers, you know. People are looking at you as, what are you gonna do? And you're sitting there looking at yourself, what am I gonna do? But, you know, you somehow, if you just keep your head in the right spot and try to focus and not let the burden or the tragedy overwhelm you, that's when you can make an opportunity out of something like this, so.
Well said.
Either way.
Hey, I have kind of a comment and question. I was looking back yesterday at the 1 Million Cups, trying to figure out when you all were here before. It was November 14th of 2014. Yeah. So it was a little bit over a year ago, and I remember you guys, talking about your new concept and what you wanted to do. And I remember just being so proud of you all and just thinking, wow, this is exciting. And everyone that didn't know about Number 9 or that thought they did, we would always say, oh, it's they're doing a new fresh thing there, you got to try it. And people that are from out of town that would come in and say, where can we eat? Oh, go to Number 9. It's, if they weren't brothers. And I just, from that point of view, I just wanted to say, yeah, cool. And now it's even better. I mean, it's like, yeah, now we really get to watch you go and do things that because you had talked about a few things then, and it's like, wow, exactly. Even though it sucks that it happened that way. And I went through a great loss. My house got destroyed in the tornado in Newburgh. And it was kind of the same thing. I always say I would not endorse that as a way to get a new house, but it happened and things were better because of it, and we all grew and we learned, and it was it was a shocking experience. But in my lifetime now is before the tornado and after the tornado, and you're probably going to find that for a while that it's going to be before the fire and after the fire. Everything in your life you kind of even though you have Evie, and that's a lot of you separate things before. I was a mom and after, but this is one of those defining moments. But the question, what's your favorite new thing? What do you love more when you look at it? And second question, what, for someone else who maybe it's not a fire or a tornado, but maybe some other kind of business setback, what advice do you have already for people?
First question, probably my most favorite thing is the bar. I'm not a big bar goer, but I have this thing with interesting bars. It's not just a wooden top or granite top with some shelves and some liquor. It's beautiful to me. And I don't drink liquor, but it's just all the shiny bottles and it just touch them, and just going and picking out the wood. We hand selected all that wood. It's all reclaimed. Some of it's barn wood, some of it's just old wood. And then picking out the pipes and what size pipes do we want to use, and then trying to figure out what we wanted the bar made out of. And we probably changed our mind 900 times about what we wanted to do with the barn or with the bar top and even the base of it. And we just went round and round and round. So there was lots of discussions about the bar. And even whenever it went up, I'm like, something's still missing. And then, oh, okay, the liquor. Put all that up there, and it's like, wow, and it just kind of makes you feel fuzzy inside. So that's probably one of my favorite things. And then the loft, we call it the loft, which we didn't quite expect the air conditioners to be as big as they were. We were kind of fully intending on putting a Christmas tree up there, and we even had plug units installed up there, but there's probably room for a Christmas tree, not that big. So that's probably my next favorite cool little thing about it. I love it all. I can't really say, but your second question was advice for
someone else you might have.
You have. I just feel like a lot of times when things like this would happen, people would close their doors forever. People would say, business was hard already. Is it even worth it? Let's just not, and then just kind of go away, I felt like it wasn't my time. It wasn't my time to go away. I wasn't ready yet. And I wasn't ready for the death of number 9 to happen. And so sometimes it's, even though it was, I mean, it was hard. We were hitting rocky roads, and I mean, 2015, like I said, has been rough. And, but what is it going to do to your community? You know, sometimes you have to look at your business and say, am I important? You know, I didn't know I was until after it happened. You know, and everybody, just this whole community influx of just, oh my gosh, you know, and everybody else was shocked. And I'm like, wow, maybe I really am. Maybe I really am important. Maybe, or, you know, number 9, not me, but number 9 is important. And so just keep your head up, you know, and just think about what you're doing. This is a decision. If you decide to go away, it's a decision for a lifetime, you know, and you'll never be able to get it back. But if you have an opportunity like insurance that can help you, and I know a lot of people don't have the insurance, and that's why they do go away. But number 1, get good insurance would be number 1 advice. Never skip on that. And actually, I think I'm adding an earthquake policy to mine, just because Lord knows the next thing that would happen.
When something happens to you, you're like, yeah, anything's possible. I mean,
Right.
anything is possible.
Before I'm like, oh, that extra $100 and that, low, you know, but now I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Kelly, I think I could add something to that. That's a good reason why to deal with a local insurance agent rather than somebody that you don't know. Not that you know, the agent doesn't really he can't change anything that you didn't buy. If you buy not enough insurance, that's what you're stuck with. But at least you've got somebody there that can guide you with what you need for insurance,
Right.
in case something like this happens, because it happens.
It does.
And then at least this way you're covered.
Right.
You don't try to save it on premium, because that can be very expensive.
And I mean, over the course of my life, you know, the premiums that I pay each year is not even going to probably match what it costs to rebuild number 9. But luckily, you know, and that's what insurance is for. They know that it's not ever going to weigh out, you know.
Like Ruth Ann, she knows what good insurance is.
Right.
First United Bank, but from the day we pulled up and the building was on fire, her and Eric never once ever thought that, well, we're just going to let it go away. Her main concern was her employees and this community and themselves, you know, as business owners. But the staff that they have down there, every single one of them after the fire was there. What can we do? What can we do to help? And for months afterwards, every single day went by, there was something about number 9 that was being talked about or they were helping with. And I can't say enough for the staff that they have and just how they all came together to do what needed to be done. And that's, I think, a reason why they're all back, which is a testament, you know, to them and their leadership down there. I've watched her and Eric both grow so much through this entire experience, and just everything from keeping on top of her money, what was being spent, how it was being spent, what can I do to make this better, can I take them here to do this, working with the contractors, working, you know, plumbers, everybody. They just spent countless hours, you know, dealing with those people, and she had her own idea, her own vision of what she wanted to do, and you know, she stayed true to that. And Pinterest was a great friend for both of us. I mean, that's where, you know, a lot of the ideas came from, and I don't think there was a day that went by until that restaurant opened that we didn't talk about what we're gonna do. You know, everything from the menu, you know, typing it and looking at it and changing a few things. And I've never been through anything like this, and I feel like I was an employee, you know, and but just mom, you know, and doing what you can do, you know, to help. And it was an amazing experience to go through. I wouldn't want to go through it again, but I truly believe that, you know, she's learned a lot, and she could do anything she puts her mind to, you know, so I applaud her.
One of the key elements in any business, especially the business that you're in, is employees. And you hung on to these employees for 4.5 months plus. My question is, how did that happen? How were you able to maintain it? What did you do?
Because I had a wonderful insurance policy, some of the employees, especially my management group, me and Eric and my 3 other managers, we got to stay on payroll the entire time.
So you had business interruption.
Right, so
Okay, that's what-
business income loss is what I have. And it was I never thought about it really, but my servers, you know, they only make $2.13 an hour and they work off tips. Well, insurance says, you know, they have no way to figure out what those tips would have been, so it's happened with no one really what they make anyways, but that's just server world. But so all of them, I advised them, because I was only going to be able to pay them $2.13, you know, and I had went through every single person's payroll for if they had been there since the beginning of 2015, I'm sorry. And beyond, like most of my employees have been there at least a year or more anyways. Some people have been there for almost 6 years that we've been open. I still have 4 that have been there for 6 years. So I averaged out their hours that they worked in a week, and that's basically how I came up with an average pay for them. The servers, I did advise to go get on unemployment, even if it was going to raise my premium or my rates on unemployment. You know what, that's fine. I'd much rather them get something than the little that I could pay them. You know, they could get more through that. The other employees, I mean, I had them doing mowing my grass, cleaning out my garage, like, you know, different things like that. Anything that I could have them do to continue to pay them, I could do that for 60 days. Once that 60 days was up, then I could only keep my management team on. And I apologized to everybody, and I said, you know, it'll only be a few short, 5 or 6 more weeks until we're all back again. You know, so go get on unemployment if you can, go find another job. Some of them did find other jobs, and even if they did, a lot of them did find other jobs, and they said, you know, when's I'm gonna be over? I can't wait to come home, you know. And that touches my heart. So they're strong. I have I've spent countless and countless of hours too trying to hand select my staff, and I applaud every single one of them for sticking it out with us. And I think just in any kind of life situation, you say you don't realize how good it is until it's gone, or and we of course deal with employee conflicts, and things happen. I mean, we're one big family, so of course there's fights and there's bickering and people get mad at each other and drama and stuff. But that's one of my biggest things in the restaurant is to eliminate as much drama as possible. I don't like it. I don't want it in my restaurant. Of course, there's going to be little things, but you're outside. This is our family. What you do in your own family or what you do in outside of here doesn't come in here. So all of them know that, and they stand by me to not try to bring it in and let it affect the other employees. Because as soon as somebody comes in with a bad attitude, it affects all of them. And then 2, it'll affect the customers. Even if the dishwasher, who never sees a customer, comes in a bad mood, somehow that's going to affect you as a customer. So trying to, I don't really know how I held on to them. I mean, I love them and they love me, I guess.
It sounds like a lot of it was prior to all this, the time before, you were building a relationship
Right.
with them.
And you don't ever want to say, you're not best friends with your employees. I mean, there is a very fine line here that you have to, and sometimes you have to cross it. Sometimes you do need to step in their personal life and help them out a little bit. Sometimes they need a shoulder to cry on, and you are that shoulder, you know. Like I was saying, the million hats that you wear in a day. But I never tried to turn cold to them. I never tried to make it that they didn't matter. And even through the process of rebuilding, I tried to get their input on things, you know, think about each one of your stations and where you work, and if you could change anything about it, what would make it easier for you to do your job? So they stayed involved, I guess, even if it wasn't through money. A lot of times it wasn't for that. They would come and help me even when I couldn't pay them. They did it, I think, solely because after it was gone, they realized they loved it, you know, and they wanted to be back. They wanted to be there to help. So.
Kelly, one of the things that every business owner really needs to think about, and lots don't until the time has come, is exit strategy. You talked about how for some that might have been an unplanned, unpleasant exit strategy. You didn't take that exit ramp, and I think the community's very glad you didn't. Has this caused you and Eric, though, to maybe more than you did before? Y'all are young, but has this caused you to fast forward, to think, okay, in another decade or two or whenever, you know, what will our exit strategy be? You thought about that as a result of this?
No. I'm not ready to make an exit anytime soon.
Not talking about
Right.
being ready to, but doing some advanced planning.
I don't have. A lot of times try to put more apples on my plate than I need, I guess.
You've had a lot on your plate right now, so.
I'm kind of already thinking I'm going to renovate my house. I've already thought of other plans to possibly buy a piece of land to have a bigger garden on. I would like to have, I have a million ideas that I would love to be able to do. One, it takes time and it takes money.
Sure.
And even if I were to exit from number 9, or if that were to eventually turn into something else, you know, the Madisons aren't done. Not for some time in this community, so. I guess that's my plan. I'm just looking for any opportunity that's going to, one, make my family stronger and make a life and a family for our daughter, and two, anything that's going to benefit the community. Y'all know how strongly we feel about local and fresh and organic, and we try to do as much as we can at the Steakhouse. Of course, it is what it is, and it can only do so much, but there's just all sorts of other ideas.
Any more questions? Well, we thank you very, very much. And like I said, if you haven't been to number 9, they're open for lunch.
11 o'clock. Thank you all very much.
We have an opening next week. If you know anybody that would like to present at 1 Million Cups, then on the 20th of this month, we're going to take a field trip to the new tech center. So we'd love to have you join us there at 7:30 on the 20th. If you know anybody for next week, give Elizabeth, Mark, Carol, myself a call. We will take care of them.
Women's
Thank you. Have a
conference?
good day.
You want to mention the women's conference?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize it was over here. There's going to be a women's conference with Gigi from Gigi's Cupcakes. It's going to be February 11th at Catering and Creation. And call the office and sign up. You've got a flyer on your table.